Okay, so he will let us know when he's getting ready, when we're ready to start, and then we'll hear the music. I'm recording this so that then you can reuse the video. I put them up on YouTube. And I do cut out like this part so that it's really just the interview. I cut out the commercials so that when we're talking, when there's a commercial happening, like that's just for us. If there's any good outtakes, I could send them to you.
Okay, good. I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb. Is there anything else like I should?
No, you just want to make sure that there's not going to be any phone ringing. I mean, I have had somebody's phone ring. Just kind of funny.
Okay.
But, so we're just going to start off with kind of like, what like where you started and how, you really were more science person. Mm-hmm. And then, because you worked with James Wraith, right?
Yep. Yeah.
At
Fisheries Lab. Yep.
Yeah. So, I went to high school with him, which is really funny.
Oh my gosh. I just talked to Lisa the other day.
Briefly. Oh, cool.
Yeah, just through chat, but.
Yeah, nice.
I miss
him.
So
that's why I know Lisa, because she.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right, we've got 2 minutes to air.
Great. So we'll start off with, really you have a scientific background. That was your thing. And then you got into Reiki. And then you were introduced to essential oils by Kelowna, right?
Actually, her mom.
Her mom.
And then I approached Kelowna, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll go into that. Okay.
And then, just kind of, then I really want to talk about how somebody would get started. What kind of resources do you need? What should you be cautious with kids? What kind of impacts have you noticed in your personal health? What did you notice when you were doing Reiki and using it on people? That kind of stuff. It goes pretty quick. And so you do a lot of Facebook Lives. This is the same difference.
Yeah. A little bit.
Really,
yeah. A little bit more intimidating, but okay.
I mean, it just depends, right? If you don't ever do Facebook Lives, then it would probably feel the other way around.
Right.
I've had other people who just they're like, I don't want it recorded, but they're fine to talk on the radio. And I'm like, well, okay.
Oh, yeah. Kind of want it. Put that energy in.
Yeah, totally. So I don't actually book those people. I'm like, nah. All or nothing.
I love that you're doing this. It's so cool.
Yeah, and it's real. I mean, I get a lot of questions about it. I just did a presentation for a Raising Healthy Kids group last week on essential oils because they asked. They were like, "Oh, well, I really want to know more about this." So, I really like to gear it for the average person who's getting inundated with all this information and then being told like, "Oh, this is super dangerous to use this," or
All right, 30 seconds and we're live.
Okay. So I want to dig into like how the average person sort of, starts to learn about them and feel comfortable using them.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I cover all that. So you'll ask questions. You'll kind of lead me into this stuff. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have my little notes, but I'm like,
Yeah. You have so much knowledge, so I'm not, you'll be fine.
Welcome to Hidden Secrets to Health with Christina Cole. When you realize that each and every lifestyle choice you make generally has a direct effect on your health, wouldn't you want to influence that outcome? On this program, you'll learn how to uncover the secrets that your body tells you and learn how even small lifestyle changes can mean big rewards with your health. And now, here's your host, Christina Cole.
Hello, and welcome to Hidden Secrets to Health. This is your host, Christina Cole, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified health coach. And the purpose of the Hidden Secrets to Health is to really help the average person learn about different modalities of finding true health and wellness. I think a lot of times we go down the path that has been paved for us and find it challenging and not always getting the healthy results that we're looking for and becoming frustrated. And there are so many tools and so many ancient healing methodologies out there that introducing them to everyone is part of my passion. And so today I'm very excited to have Amy Peace on the line with us. She is an essential oils expert. She's been using them for quite a few years, and she's actually my oil lady. I've been using essential oils for the last 5 years on a consistent basis. I probably have, I shouldn't say, it might sound like I'm a hoarder for how many essential oils I have, but I have a good at least 100 oils because I like to try them out and use them for different things. And I have studied them a lot. And I've also have a lot of different resources at my hand. So I would like to introduce Amy and kind of get a little bit of her background and her own journey into becoming an essential oil expert. So welcome, Amy.
Thank you so much, Christina, for having me. I'm excited to be here and share. This has become one of my major passions, is to share education about health and wellness through the use of essential oils. So I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I actually got started at the same time you did, around 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago. I was introduced to essential oils. I'd used them previously in my home. Maybe it was tea tree essential oil, peppermint oil, stuff like that from the grocery store, but I never really dove into using them for therapeutic purposes until about 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I really do want to talk about those gross. That's a lesson in and of itself. But I'd love for people to know, like, you have a really extensive scientific background, and I think that has really played into how well you know how to use the oils and understanding how they work. So let's tell our audience a little bit about the life of Amy.
All right. Well, let's see. I went to college for marine biology. That was one of my big passions, was to learn more about the ocean. I studied, got my degree, and then I was quickly relocated down to San Diego area, where I was hired at the Southwest Fisheries Science Center. And that's a research center in La Jolla that studies, all sorts of marine animals for preservation. Really loved working there. And at that time, I had my firstborn, and when I was pregnant with my secondborn, I discovered that through federal budget cuts, I was actually going to get, laid off pretty much. My contract was not going to get renewed. So at that point, I had my second baby, and I was like, what am I going to do? And that is when I first had my first Reiki experience. My mom was diagnosed with cancer. I was pregnant, and I was going through just a bunch of different emotions, and the Reiki treatment that I had was just jaw-dropping. So at that point, I was like, what was that? I started learning more about it, and I became trained in it at second degree Reiki level, and I started wanting to share that with other people. So I started a small business, helping others with Reiki treatments. And
let's let people know what Reiki is.
Yeah, great. Yes, Reiki is a really non-invasive technique that's used to kind of exchange energy. It is not kind of, it is. Yeah. So the receiver would be fully clothed on a table or a bed, and it's basically the transfer of energy using your hands, and you're connecting with divine source, with universal energy, however you want to say it. And it's ancient. It goes back a long time. I can't even remember the year that it first, became, I'm trying to think. It was used by Buddhist monks a lot.
Right.
And it's an exchange of energy, and through that healing energy, you can transfer that and kind of refill your ki, which is the center core, your energy center. We've probably heard of chakras and the energy centers within our body. And Reiki is one way to kind of recharge and balance those energy systems.
It's really neat. I did a yoga class that had Reiki as part of it. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what this is, it's the way that you receive it is through, you feel in the healing.
Right.
So
that's
it's really interesting because I feel like sometimes we know something's not right, but we don't know where it is. And when you receive a Reiki treatment, then you kind of get zoned in on that. Like maybe it's your back, or maybe it's your kidneys, or maybe it's your knee, right? But it's really interesting because it does bring warmth.
I mean, it's a trip. When my first session was actually with my sister-in-law, who is a holistic health practitioner. And at the time she was over my heart center, her hands, I don't even think were touching me. They were just hovering over me. And I started to cry.
Oh my gosh.
Smile, cry, smile. And it was just back and forth. And my breathing changed, and I was struggling to catch a breath. I'm like, what is happening? So it was really, jaw dropping
profound
for me.
Yeah.
Yes. At that time I was like, what the heck? She wasn't even touching me. So that's, I started to dive into that to learn more about it, wanted to share that with other people. And then that is when I was introduced to essential oils, actually by my mom-in-law. She said, you should really look into doing essential oils. And I thought, well, why? I'm not a massage therapist.
Right.
So I put it off. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to incorporate the essential oils into my Reiki practice. So I would diffuse them in my office space. I would rub the essential oils over pressure points that are located on our ears, the palm of the hands, even the bottoms of the feet. And it was really, the change that I would see, it just added another component, another kind of layer to the type of energy healing that they were getting. And they were getting therapeutic properties from that as well.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. But then at that point, I started using the essential oils in my house. Now I had, 2 children, and then eventually I had a third.
Yeah.
And kids just really come up with all sorts of wacky stuff. And when you're a mom, it's nice to have something that's natural that you can incorporate in your house, that you can use, and you can see results really quick. So I really started using them in the house. And then when I started seeing that, that's kind of when it started taking over. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how amazing these are. Why didn't I know about these sooner? It's crazy. So then I really, that took over and became my full passion to really educate people about the uses of essential oils. And that's solely what I do right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. One of the things that I've had people ask is, I think there's a lot of information on the internet with all modalities, and all of it's conflicting, right? So it's just like you get to the point where you're just like, I don't know what this is. I don't know who to believe, so I'm just not going to do it. And, that starts to be kind of a fear-based method, which that's for me personally, I've made it a sort of a mission in my life for a long time that I wasn't going to allow fear to prevent me from doing anything that I wanted to do. So for me, when I have come across something that's fear, I'm going to educate myself about this.
Right.
So for people out there that are really curious and are interested in bringing this into their life, what type of resources would you recommend?
Well, it's funny you say that because, with my science background, I was a super skeptic. I thought it was a placebo effect to some extent. I was like, what's really going on here? So I really did dive into researching, and I kind of have that personality where I kind of like to see the numbers and I like to have that proof, if you will. So I really dove into searching online, and where I started were from really reputable sources. So you really want to check the source on who's telling you what you're reading.
Right.
So I went to sources like PubMed.com. So that's an internet directory of published medical research papers. And if you go in there and you just search essential oils, you're just going to see, at that time, there were over 14,000 articles, and I know that number's increased now. There's also some books that I read, that actually one that I have right here, this is really my favorite. It's the Essential Oils Desk Reference.
I have that
book. Yes. Yeah. From Life Science Publishing. And that book just has, it really references on each, scientific statement that it makes. It has the exact reference, of the article. So you can go back and look at that, further if you want, if you're that type of person. If you're not, I would say just start with the Essential Oils Pocket Reference book from Life Science Publishing. It's a very condensed, shortened version. It's going to tell you how to use, specific single oils or blended oils, and the safety precautions that go along with that. And I think the other really big recommendation would be to connect with, your essential oil lady or your essential oil man, that guru. And you're really going to join their community that has most likely a lot of online education or in-person education. So that's where I do most of my education, is through online or in-person classes or workshops.
Yeah. So when I met you through our mutual friend, Lisa, I was in Sacramento, which is where you're from, which is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in San Diego, which is where I'm from. And so I didn't have like sort of that connection, right? So I wasn't able to go. They did have a ton of classes, and I definitely recommend going to classes and learning. You'll learn a lot about the science behind essential oils, but also there's usually you get to make something, which if you're at all crafty, that's really fun. And you walk away with like body butter or sugar scrub or something. But I didn't have that. So I got that pocketbook reference and I totally read the whole thing. But that's so me also. I'm an avid overlearner. And so I read the whole thing, and that was really for me, like, okay, now I understand like where they come from, how they're made, why to use them, when to use them. And I also have 2 young children at the time. They're still young, but I had like a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, 2-year-old at the time. Yep. And so I wanted to figure out how to use them on children while still being safe with them. So there's just such a thing as hot oils, right? And then there's ones you really don't want to use. And there's a way to sort of titrate in to using essential oils. And one of the things that I always tell people is anytime you're using an oil with a child, you want to use a carrier oil.
Absolutely.
So what are like your favorite children's oils?
Oh my gosh. Well, I can tell you their favorites. So my children right now, they're 8, 5, and 3. They all kind of have their own favorites. So yeah, with the carrier oil, just for the audience who may not know what that is, it's basically a vegetable-based fatty oil. So anything like coconut oil, olive oil. I prefer grapeseed oil. And you typically want to make sure it's organic and preferably cold pressed.
Right.
So I get the grapeseed oil because it absorbs fast into the skin, and it also can be taken internally if I want to make some capsules with essential oils, because oils can be taken internally as long as they are therapeutic grade, high quality essential oils. Like Young Living oils are the ones that I use and would only recommend. So for my children, a lot of them are Young Living essential oil blends. Our favorite for sleepy time is Gentle Baby. I'm sorry, we do Gentle Baby, but then now it's evolved into Dreamcatcher.
Oh, okay.
So Dreamcatcher is amazing. My daughters love that one. Capel, my son, likes the Dreamcatcher. On nights that he may not be sleeping that well, or maybe a little fussy, I'll add vetiver and lavender essential oil to his diffuser. Topically for my kids, my daughter Seja loves Joy. That's a blend that's very uplifting and mood elevating. She loves that one. Kalia likes Christmas Spirit. So it's a cinnamony, orange, and black spruce. So it's a very seasonal, cheerful. I love that oil year round, not just at Christmas time. And Capel really likes probably like the lavender. He's more of like a gentle,
Yes.
He likes them all, but the peppermint, maybe not so much. It's a little too strong.
Still too strong
when he smells that. But now with my kids, I do use carrier oils. But when I apply the essential oils to the bottoms of their feet, those oils are absorbing into their bloodstream in just a matter of seconds. So I can get into like a little bit of the science of the oils if you guys want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I would actually apply the oils to the bottoms of their feet neat, which means no carrier oil. So the bottoms of the feet is a really good place to apply oils on children if you're going to apply them topically, because it's, there's not a lot of reaction, I guess, that occurs in that type of skin, that epidermis. But so the essential oils themselves, they're really small molecules that are fat soluble, and they can actually absorb and do absorb into your bloodstream in a matter of seconds when you apply them topically to your skin. So because they're fat soluble, they can actually penetrate your cell membranes. They can travel through your blood and penetrate the tissues in your bodies. And that's where you're getting that therapeutic benefit, because they're able to do that within the body. You know, it's not taking something internally, it's dissolving, and then you've got to process it through your kidney and your liver, and then it goes through, you know, your bloodstream and whatnot. So they can really be quick acting, fast acting, by applying them topically.
Yeah, I think my favorite example of that is I never say this right, Digize.
Digize, yeah. Digize.
Okay. Digize, and then they have a children's version called Tummygize. But I love that because you just put some on your hand and then you rub it on your stomach. And so if you're feeling indigestion or gassy or just any type of stomach discomfort,
Yep.
even when you have the flu or anything and you put that on, the time it takes to interact with your body is literally minutes. It is truly amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've used that with my kids so many times, and it just, I mean, I use it myself. My husband uses it. You know, he was sort of a skeptic, and he would be like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. I'm like, well, have you tried that? And he's like, no. And then now he doesn't even, he just goes and gets it because it works so fast. And there's nothing you're going to take internally that's going to give you that same relief as quickly.
No, and it probably wouldn't be as natural. You know, that's the other thing. Essential oils are, you know, straight from the plant. You're extracting these potent, you know, constituents or whatever from the plant that absorbs into your bloodstream so fast. And those constituents are what help the plants, you know, survive in the environment.
Let's talk about like how essential oils are made right when we come back from our break.
Okay.
And that way people understand sort of the diffusing method, the distillery and that kind of thing.
Great.
So we'll be right back.
You're clear.
Great. It was like 3 minutes and then I was like 30 seconds.
I saw the 30 seconds. It did pop up actually.
Oh, good.
Minutes.
Are you not getting all the messages?
Well, I'm on my phone and I don't have a chat window.
Okay.
Her computer wasn't picking up the
No, that's fine. I got worried. I was like, Christine, you're seeing all of them, right?
I can see them, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Had me worried there for a minute. I was like, oh no.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Your smoke signals.
How long is the break? It's 2 minutes?
Yeah. He'll let us know. He'll count us back in.
Okay. So then how...
Or 2 minutes, 2 minutes ish. A little longer, a little less sometime.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So then we'll go over the distillation a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about like the distillation and also like sourcing.
Yes.
Because I want to do distillation and then that kind of leads into sourcing. And then that can really lead into the conversation about the difference between therapeutic grade and the things that you buy on Amazon or the grocery store or whatever. Because that's something I see a lot. Like people, these are essential oils. And they'll listen to me talk about them. And then they'll go to the store and buy some garbage.
Right.
And I'm like, what are you using? And I'm like, okay, so you're having trouble sleeping and you went and bought this cheap lavender. So you have that next to your bed in the nice diffuser that I gave you and you're breathing in chemicals. And then, right. And then that leads into the rest of my business is like, okay, so, and you have weight that you can't drop. Is that right? And that's because you're breathing in all these environmental toxins that are overload, blah, blah, blah. Right. So it's a vicious cycle.
It is. It totally is. Before we go into that, I think, can I finish with what an oil is? Like, because I think it's really neat to say like the different constituents that are in each plant or each oil. Like it can have anywhere from 80 to 300.
Yeah.
And like that's what's giving.
So let's talk about that.
Medicinal.
And then we'll go into distillation, kind of go down because then we'll have, we'll we'll see if we make it through all of that before the next break, but that's
Okay.
it's not
So
a
we have
problem.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
All right, here we go. Coming back.
You are listening to Hidden Secrets to Health. To reach our show today, call in to 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@ChristinaCole.com. Now back to Hidden Secrets to Health.
Welcome back to Hidden Secrets to Health. This is your host, Christina Cole, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and a certified health coach. And we are on the line today with Amy Peace. She is an essential oils expert. She's also a Reiki practitioner. And we were just discussing the benefits of using essential oils, what they are, kind of how to use them in your family home. And we'll be going further into the benefits. But what we really wanted to pick back up on was what an essential oil is. Like, what are the constituents? How does that work, Amy?
Yeah. Okay. So that's part of the science what I dove into. I was like, wait a second, how do these suckers work? You know, how are they really giving all this therapeutic? How can one oil be used for so many different things? So what I learned was that each individual oil, like a single oil, if you're thinking of just peppermint or just lavender or frankincense, those are considered single oils. There's just one ingredient in there, right? The essential oil of that plant. Mm-hmm. They can have anywhere from 80 to 300 different chemical constituents in that, which is amazing. So that's why one oil can be so versatile to work for so many different things. The chemical constituents that I'm talking about, I mean, they can be anything from like phenols to sesquiterpenes to terpenes to monoterpenes to ketones. I mean, there's a whole array of different chemical components that are in those essential oils. And those are the components that are giving us therapeutic benefits. Those are the ones that we're using for therapeutic, you know, we're getting the therapeutic use from those chemical constituents. So if you think of an oil, an essential oil compared to the herb form, so we'll take like peppermint, for example, it can be anywhere from 100 to 10,000 times more potent than the herb form. And that's because when we extract it through the distillation process, the oil is so concentrated with all of those therapeutic properties. So one drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to like 26 cups of peppermint tea.
Wow.
So that just kind of puts it into perspective. That's a lot of tea. I don't think I could drink that much tea.
No.
But I could rub one drop of peppermint oil, you know, over my abdomen, and I'm still going to reap those therapeutic benefits, maybe even more so.
Yeah. So explain the distillation process. Like, how exactly does that work? How do you go from having a barrel full of lemons to a bottle of lemon essential oil, as an example?
Yeah, it's you know, this is one of the main reasons I chose Young Living. There's a couple of reasons. There are three main reasons I'd say I chose Young Living Essential Oils as the oil company I'm going to use and represent. Their distillation process they're hands down the best. So they've been around for 25 years. They are literally the godfather of essential oils here, you know, in America, and becoming across the world. They've really had their foot in the door from the beginning. So that's given them that upper edge, that advantage to really fine tune the essential oil production. And one of the ways that they've done that is through their distillation process. So if you were to take any citrus oil, it's actually not the juice that is distilled. It's actually just the rind, the peel of that fruit, and it's cold pressed. So that's that's not really a steam distillation or solvent-based distillation. It's just cold pressed, and the oils actually just seep out of that orange, and you're getting all of those benefits.
And it smells so good.
Oh, citrus oils are amazing. They're very uplifting. If anybody has any looking for mood support, citrus oil is what I would recommend. Now, if you look at the plant, you know, like say it's a Douglas fir or
how would you get this giant fir tree into a bottle?
Yeah, so it's really neat. It's really neat. They used to only use the needles, and now they've in some trees, they're using the entire tree. They're
Wow.
collecting, and they'll do that. Young Living will do that through steam distillation. So it's high pressure, high temperature, and they're basically exposing the plant matter, whether it's the roots, the trees, the seeds, the flowers, the leaves, the shrubs, the bark. They will put it under high pressure, high temperature, and they're actually extracting the essential oils. They're separated from the water, they're separated from the plant matter, and they're just getting this pure oil directly from the plant. So it can take a lot of plant matter to get
Yeah,
that.
I would, if you really think about it, because then there's all that steam that's going one direction and the oil that's going the other. And I think for one of the best ways for me as a mental picture is when my husband and I traveled to Scotland. We went to a Scotch distillery, right?
Yes. Yep.
And you see these giant vats, right? And that's kind of what they're doing, right? Because you end up seeing it and you see like the liquid, the water sort of going one direction, and the
Absolutely.
actual spirit, if you will, is going the other direction. And that's
Yes.
sort of how you separate it out. So that's basically the same thing that's happening with these essential oils, that they're kind of like getting condensed and then separating out through these cool distilleries.
Yeah, and then they collect the oil, and if anybody wants to ever see that, anyone can go to a Young Living farm. On site, they'll have distilleries, which is really amazing. That blew my mind. They're one of the only essential oil companies that actually have their own distilleries on site. So they're using all their own distillation equipment. They're able to test the essential oil as they're distilling it, and anybody can go and tour these distilleries, so you can actually
cool.
see them. And you can see the oil coming out. You can smell it. It smells incredible. One thing that I really liked about Young Living's protocol with their distillation process is they actually brought the science into it. So they would actually extract samples of the essential oil as it's being distilled to check it for levels of these therapeutic constituents.
Oh, wow.
And most other essential oil companies won't do that. So what you're getting is an over distilled, or actually less potent essential oil.
Right, because they're trying to get just that peak.
Yeah, Young Living just wants that peak where it's the maximum. And then at some point it starts to drop off because you're going to end up diluting it with weaker oil, right? Where other essential oil companies just really want to produce more volume. They want more oil. And it may smell amazing, but you probably, it's not going to be as potent. So I always say, I only recommend Young Living essential oils because they are the most pure and the most potent essential oils on the planet. And I know that from all my studies and all the
well, you've gone to several
several
sites.
firms. Yeah. Yeah. And they are, they really just take it up a level. And then that goes into their seed to seal promise as well, and that was another reason that I went with that company. They really offer the seed to seal guarantee, which is where they're having scientists testing, the product all the way through its production, even starting with the seed. They'll have biologists look at the seed and see if it has the potential to produce good quality essential oil. They don't use any pesticides on their plants. They actually use kind words as they're weeding and stuff. They talk to the plants. And I think I've even heard a story where, anybody who was having a down day or something went wrong, they would actually send them home, so they wouldn't be putting that energy into the plants. They really go over the top with.
That gives me a little bit of goosebumps, right? Because as you kind of go down the rabbit hole of
right.
holistic healing, you learn how much energy, and as a Reiki practitioner, I think you sort of got hit in the face with that.
Yes.
But how much energy really has an impact. And I try to explain that to people in a variety of different ways, including the foods that you choose to eat. Because as you're, if you're eating factory farmed foods, those are not happy animals or plants. And that energy is what you're ingesting, and that will impact your health. That's not talked about, but it is scientifically proven that
Right.
actually happens. So I think that's really interesting as a company that they would say, you're having a bad day, you need to
Yep.
go.
Yep.
Because we
Yep.
just can't have you
Not that
contributing that energy to the oil. So I love that. One of the things that I know that Young Living does, and there may be other companies that do, I don't know, but is they source from where a product is has its best life. So like frankincense, right? And I know lavender and I can't think the other one that's what's in Ecuador that they have like a big
Ylang-ylang. There's ylang-ylang in Ecuador, and Melissa we have in St. Mary's, Idaho. Yeah, they really, they take care. So they basically partner. This is what another amazing facet of Young Living. They really partner with areas, right, with communities where there is a holistic, there is a therapeutic plant or whatever that, we're interested in using or distilling. And Young Living will partner with the community and learn about however they are harvesting that plant. They learn like the best methods to do it so that it's sustainable. They're really big into sustainability. And then they'll partner with these communities, but then they'll also open their doors to provide jobs, to help in some other facet. Like we had an orphanage in Croatia. We opened up an academy in Ecuador because there, wasn't a school that was enough, I guess, or sustainable.
Right, it wasn't like going to help these kids, right?
Yeah, so they really go over, they have a malaria testing station in Africa. So not only do they, partner with these communities and then end up, having a farm or whatever and a distillery in that country, to the community to provide and to give back to them. And that's one thing I really love. So the sourcing, we only source from our own farms, basically. So we have our own farms that we own across the globe. And then we co-partner with other farms, but they have to abide by our strict guidelines.
Right,
so
and there's like
strict standards.
There's testing,
like
certifications.
Oh gosh, strict standards. And that's part of, yes, absolutely. And that's part of the Seed to Seal. So if anybody wants to learn more about that, you can go to seedtoseal.com and you can learn more about the whole product, the cultivation, the distillation, the testing. The testing was massive for me. Young Living has, they have a gas chromatograph that they use, but they also have a gas chromatograph mass spectrometer.
Wow.
Let's get this out.
I know, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Big words.
So Young Living is one of the only essential oil companies that has 2 of those GCMCs, right. The ones that are testing for impurities in the oils. They're the only ones that have 2 of those in the world. And those ones are matched and calibrated with the National Center for Scientific Research in France.
Wow.
So when it's calibrated with their standards,
which France is really the mothership of essential oils. That's really where they began, if you will, in becoming certain ones, I suppose, because I know that like frankincense has been used for ever, right?
Biblical. Yeah. And essential oil use actually dates back to like 3,500 BC with like the Egyptians. Like they found what do you call it? A distillation apparatus.
Oh, wow.
In one of the tombs. Yeah. And actually when they opened up King Tut's tomb in like the early 1990s, they found all these different jars full of essential oils that he was buried with. So it was they used it in their embalming practices. They used it for personal use. So yeah, it's been essential oils date back to Egyptian times. And then
the French really brought it forward again. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. And they were used in the biblical times. And then when prescription drugs kind of, came out,
Mm-hmm.
the use of essential oils just started to drop and drop. And then Europe really started to bring that back with aromatherapy. They actually prescribe that. Like that is their, they prescribe that for particular issues. And now it's kind of made its way, west. And that's why you see it popping up everywhere in everybody's, social media feed.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that in my world of these sort of integrative health practitioners, whether it's a functional medicine MD or it's a chiropractor or it's an FDN like myself or a health coach, all of these different modalities incorporate the use of essential oils in their practices and with their clients, and have different classes and teach people because they are that useful, they are that powerful. I know that I have a friend who I gave her mother some Panaway, and she was able to get off of pain medication for her arthritis in her hand.
Wow.
By just being able to use Panaway, and she mixes it in coconut oil so that it lasts longer. But the ability to get off of a medication that's helping you, but if there's a natural way of getting the same benefit, that's such a great option, because a lot of times when you have to ingest it, then it really starts to wreak havoc on your stomach and your stomach lining and your intestinal tract. And that sort of starts the cycle that I see a lot. And that's where I start spending time helping people unfold what is the source of the stress in their body that's creating this sort of cycle that's happening. And so using essential oils, well, for a while, it kind of was on the side. I really see it coming back in and being used with a lot of health practitioners incorporating that and having it as an option. And the School of Applied Functional Medicine, where I've gone, she talks about using different essential oils for different modalities, different issues, and it just really is helpful to people. One of the things I want to talk about when we come back from break is that the quality that you're using is so important. And that's something that I try to stress all the time, because you could end up doing more harm than good if you are not using a really good quality. So let's talk about that when we come back.
Sounds good.
All right, you're clear?
All right. Oh, it's just rolling.
Yeah, it just zips by. It's funny because I feel like just before you go on, you have that anxiety, and before I got here and I couldn't find my key to get into the office. I was like freaking out.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to my office is in a chiropractor's office. And so I had to call her and be like, I need you to come let me in right now. So she races over here and lets me in. And the first thing I did was I have the Aria diffuser going on.
Nice.
By me. I'm dumping Sacred Mountain. That's my favorite.
That's so funny.
Okay.
I was just doing the same. I was I'm sweaty, nervous.
I know. Yeah.
This is actually the one morning or one event or whatever where I have not had something go wrong, except for the computer video camera. But normally it snowballs.
Yes.
And there's the kids won't nap, or there's something, somebody's at the door. Anyway.
Oh, totally. Right. Yeah.
This is a smooth transition.
I was like, am I going to have to run home and try to do this at home? And then I'm going to have the bird and the dog. So, yeah.
It's nice you have a space though that you can go to. Right now I'm in my bedroom, and I was like, please make sure the kids are quiet out there.
Yeah.
Because they're getting off to school, it's
right. Yeah, I know. It's super early.
Not even, yeah, I think it's almost 8 or something.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about quality, and then do you think we'd have time a little bit to talk about the use?
Yes. Yeah.
Aromatic, topical, and we can maybe tie into that. So I really want to talk about the aromatic influence. I feel like that's...
Yeah, let's talk about quality, and that leads directly into how you would use them.
Okay.
And then also just little caveats of if you're going to use this, try test it here first and make sure that you don't have a reaction to it. And if you put something on and you do, what do you do, right? Like, because some people will
Coming
go
back.
and wash it off.
Yes.
Hidden Secrets to Health. To reach our show today, call in to 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. You may also send an email to info@ChristinaCole.com. Now back to Hidden Secrets to Health.
Welcome back to Hidden Secrets to Health. This is your host, Christina Cole, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and a health coach. And we are on the line with Amy Peace. She is an essential oil expert. And we have been talking about distillation. We have been talking about the distillation of essential oils. We've been talking about how to use them. We've been talking about when to use them for your family, sourcing, why quality matters. And I really wanted to dig a little deeper into quality because I feel like a lot of times you learn about an essential oil and then you just go out and buy it, and you buy it anywhere. You buy it on Amazon, you buy it at the grocery store, you get it at Whole Foods, and you assume that it must be like a good quality oil. And so, Amy, can you tell us where you need to buy it, why you need to buy it that way, and what happens when you get it from these other sources?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a major difference between the grocery store essential oils, the oils you can buy online. So I personally only recommend Young Living essential oils. And that's just kind of what I touched on a little bit before, because of the quality, because they are the most pure and the most potent. I mean, every single bottle of essential oil, the little bottles of oil that you get, they're tested 98 times, like 98 times through the process before it gets that seal even on it. So no other company does that, not a single one. Through my research, what I learned was that most of the lavender oil that's sold in the US is basically a hybrid, which is called lavandin.
Mm-hmm.
And lavandin, when it's distilled, it's cheaper and it doesn't really smell that great. So they actually add a synthetic to it to improve the fragrance. And then it's sold as lavender. And because essential oils are not regulated by the FDA, they don't actually have to label all these ingredients, right? These synthetics.
Right. Like it only has to be 10%, correct?
It's like 5 or 10% has to be 100% pure for it to be labeled 100% pure essential oil.
Does that make any sense at all?
I know, like my mind blows. And I'm like, how could you even allow that? It just does not, it's so misleading.
Yeah.
Incredibly misleading. So yeah, when you go to a grocery store and you're looking for, it says organic, it says 100% pure. I would dig a little deeper, be that, smart consumer. Read the labels. If it says, for aromatic use only, do not apply topically. Put
That's
that back
a good
on the
sign.
shelf. Walk away. Yeah,
it's a good
if
sign.
you can't apply it to your skin, why would you even want to inhale that? What we inhale goes into our bloodstream as well. It can also have an expiration date. Okay, so that's a sure sign that something else is added, because pure essential oils, like therapeutic grade essential oils, like Young Living, don't have an expiration date. And usually when there is an expiration date, it's indicative of a fatty oil that has been added, like a carrier oil, like olive oil or something that's been added to it. So you're getting more oil, they're getting more product by diluting it, but we don't know that it's in there. Hence the expiration date, it's going to go rancid. So I look for little signs like that. And basically, like I said, I only recommend Young Living because I know that when their oil doesn't meet their standards, they will not put their label on it. They actually turn around and sell it to other essential oil companies. So I kind of, it is funny. So yeah,
What about Amazon when you see it says Young Living? Or all these other brands, right? You see them on Amazon.
So like if we talk about Young Living, for example, if it's on Amazon, my advice would be like, why? Don't go through a reputable distributor like myself, or go through a reputable distributor, somebody's introduced you to Young Living. When you do that, they're going to ensure that you're getting direct source directly from Young Living, because you can't buy Young Living products in the grocery store. You've got to order them online, and you've got to go through. It's better if you go through a reputable distributor, because then you're going to get the education.
Right.
You're going to get the customer service support. You're going to get any perks or the, whatever it is, deals that they may have, gifts. You're connecting to a community of education and resources. So buying from Amazon, I have heard that although the seal still may be sealed on the lid of the essential oil, that people can still pry those off and tamper with them, which could in sense be, could mean that they could be adding filler oils to it,
Well, and there's a video out that I know that I've seen where you can buy the lids. You can buy the lids
yes.
with that are like the seal. And so you take off the old lid and you just pop on this new lid.
Absolutely.
And it looks brand new, really, right? Like
right,
it looks like it's never been opened because it's a new lid.
Right. And you can look at the price. I mean, when they're selling it for less than wholesale, it's like
why?
How are they getting that for less than wholesale, and how are they making money?
And why would you? Like, why would you be selling it? Why would you buy something wholesale and then turn around and sell it on Amazon for less than what you paid for it?
Right. So I just really recommend connecting with a wholesale distributor with Young Living, to get the best product, the best essential oils. Because if you are using essential oils for if you want therapeutic results, you want to be using a therapeutic oil, and they are the most pure and the most potent.
So if I was going to get an essential oil, how would I use it? What are the different ways I can use it?
Yeah. So what's great, our Young Living essential oils can be used not only on yourself, on your children, and also on animals. So there's a lot of stuff online that says, use on animals. Don't use this on your cat. Don't do all this. I had the honor of attending a convention where holistic veterinarians were speaking about the use of essential oils on animals, and they only recommended Young Living essential oils. And they said, if you're not using anything else, go back to using herbs, because of the purity. Because a lot of the stuff that we see online with animals having seizures or dying or complications from essential oil uses are that it's a quality, it's something synthetic, it's something that's been added to that essential oil that's giving them that adverse reaction. So the other cool thing with Young Living is you can use them internally, topically and aromatically. So the internal use of the essential oils, we have this great white label that's called the Vitality line, and it clearly labels the essential oils for internal use. But those oils, so say it's the orange Vitality oil, it's the exact same essential oil as the orange labeled orange oil. Okay, so just because one's labeled, it's labeled
it's the same thing. It's just a labeling difference, and it helps identify, because then if you don't know which ones you can use internally, if you just stick with the white label, then those are the ones that are okay.
Right, absolutely. And then you can also refer to that essential oils pocket reference book, which is going to specifically tell you uses, whether internal, aromatic, or topical. And all the essential oils can be used aromatically. All of them can be used topically. So the internal would be the only ones that you would want to research first and make sure you can ingest it. So if we talk about internal use, you could drop it on a spoonful of honey, a shot of almond milk. You could make veggie capsules filled with essential oils. There's an amazing seasonal blend you can take that way, an immune support blend that we have, a recipe, I should say. Really packs the punch when you're taking it internally and addressing specific issues, or keeping above that wellness line, because we talk about, using essential oils to treat, whatever type of, not treat, but I should say to address any issues we may be having. But really, I use them every day, all day, all 3 ways. And so does my family. And that's to stay above that wellness line, to maintain that health. So internally, under the tongue, sublingually, it's going to get into your bloodstream, on the roof of your mouth, back of your throat. You can drop them directly in. I love to drink it in my water. You just always want to use glass or stainless steel containers. Then topical use. So we talked a little bit about that. You want to start with a carrier oil and maybe test it on a part of your body, like maybe the bottom of your foot or your thigh or something like that, just to see how your skin may react. Some people have extremely sensitive skin.
Right.
Other people don't, and they can apply it neat. So you just kind of want to test it out and feel. Dosage is typically anywhere from 1 drop to 6 drops, depending on the area or where you're applying it. And then you would just basically apply it topically to whatever area. Say it was your knee, or you had a skin rash, or whatever. You would be applying it directly to that location. And then aromatic use, the easiest way with that is just literally straight from the bottle. You can just drop a drop on your palm. You can cup your hands over your nose and inhale deep inhalations. I say at least 6 deep inhalations to really affect your blood pressure and all that stuff. And then using a diffuser. We have, all Young Living diffusers are petrochemical free. You want to make sure, if you're buying on Amazon or at the grocery store, it may have petrochemicals in it that then you'll be leaching out into the environment that you'll be inhaling.
And then you've sabotaged yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of a. So those are the main ways I would use aromatic use, but you can, there's other methods that you can use as well. But the really cool thing about aromatic use is you can have really profound effects physiologically and psychologically. So a little bit of science on that. When you breathe in the molecules of the essential oils, it actually triggers the olfactory kind of receptors that are inside your nasal passage. And when they kind of fit, I always say like a puzzle piece, they kind of connect in there, it fires that nerve to the olfactory bulb in your brain, the limbic portion of your brain. And the limbic portion is the seat of your emotions. It's also responsible for blood pressure, heart rate, your stress levels, hormones, just a gauntlet. So you can have a really profound effect, not only emotionally, but also physiologically, just by inhaling these powerful oils. And I'm just always blown away by that.
That's so amazing. I can't tell you how much I've appreciated you coming on the show today and really explaining the benefits, the things you need to take into consideration, and why quality matters, and the different ways that you can use it with your family and use it, for your personal health, for your emotional health. So for our listeners, how do they find you?
Oh, great. Gosh, you can find me. Probably the best way would be to connect with me on Facebook, Amy Pease on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, you can connect with me at theoilbar.net/Amy-Pease. Or you can email me at key4wellness@gmail.com. That's KI4wellness@gmail.com.
That's awesome.
And yeah.
I definitely recommend watching Amy on Facebook because she does Facebook Lives all the time, and they're always educational about different ways to use essential oils, different healing modalities, really cool information. I watch her stuff all the time and get great tips, and it's another tool to have in your toolbox, and it's a way to ensure that you're having better health with your family in a holistic manner. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Do it again.
Yes, I'd love that.
Until next time, this has been The Hidden Secrets to Health.
All right, you're clear. Great job.
All right. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. I didn't talk about the skin sensitive or the